beaming around the planet and across the galaxy. This is the Darren Sanders Show!
My very first night of stand-up comedy in 1993, I performed an open mic night, and two people I do remember being there and performing. One was Trevor Crook, and the other one was you, Akmal Saleh.
Yes. Was I Akmal then or Peter?
You were Peter then.
Yeah. When I started, I didn't want to use my real name because I was scared. So I used Peter, not knowing that there's 50 other Peters.
Yeah, there's a lot of Daves around now.
A lot of Daves, yeah. I noticed a lot of Daves. But when I started, it was Peter. It was the whole Peter sort of wave of Peters.
What year did you start then? If I started 93, it was.
It's probably started 92.
Yeah.
Maybe, 90, maybe late 91, 92.
But so the whole Akmal thing, to go back to being Akmal.
Yeah. Well, I thought, when the Arabs became popular, I thought, it's a good time to get back to my real roots and call myself by my real name.
When I said I mentioned my very first night of comedy, I found my notes for the very first night. So it's typed out on a...
And you typed it out. You're one of those professional comedians.
I don't know the jokes anymore.
No, there's just like...
If you read it and you
that's
try...
That's the same with me, except it's sort of like last week's list.
Oh.
What does that mean? What is
you usually go out... What was it? Church girl?
Yeah, dog dick bitch. dog dick bitch.
I think
that's all he needed to say. That's good. That's good.
I remember a girl being in the front row of that one, and she heckled me. And when you first do your first gig, you don't know what to do. But so I just ignored it. But then I was driving home 3 hours later, and that's when I came up with a comeback. So,
I still do that. Like sometimes weeks later, I'll wake up out of bed and go, "Of course, that's what I should have said. That would have killed. If only I could take back time."
Stuff that you feel on stage stays with you for a lot longer than it probably stays with an audience.
But I have that in real life. Like if someone insults me in real life, like literally 10 years later, I'll be thinking about it and think, that's what I should have said. That would have embarrassed him. That would have been so, but it's too late.
Yeah.
You can't go back. You can't ring him and say, 10 years ago when you said this to me, well, I've got to come back for you.
Could be a new TV show.
Yeah. Comeback.
Yeah.
The revenge show.
Well, I was going to say not revenge. What was the opposite of revenge? Where you
forgiveness.
Yeah.
Reconciliation.
Yeah. That's probably nicer. But your roots then. Let's go back to then when you said Akmal, Peter, Arab. What part?
Egypt. I was born in Egypt.
Yeah.
But the reason I changed it is that I don't know if you remember back then, like in the 90s, it was pretty rough. Like the comedy. Apart from like the Harold Park Hotel, which was kind of civilized, but everywhere else it was just pubs and like hens nights and bucks nights, and you get shouted down within 3 seconds if you're not getting a laugh. And I was scared. I was the only ethnic comedian working. I can't think of anyone else.
No.
I mean, there was Vince Sorrenti, but he wasn't really like, he was more Anglo, like he's he's white. I mean, I was the first brown, the first brown person to do comedy in Australia. Yeah. So I was scared. I thought they're not going to like me, and I was right for most of the time. Generally speaking,
well, you did the All Aussie Bufta thing.
That's right. Yeah. So I went from being really scared of it to going, wait on. I can exploit this.
Yeah.
I can make money from this.
Yeah.
Didn't make much money back then, but we did a show called All Aussie Bufta, which people misunderstood. They thought it was homophobic and whatever, but it actually came from a bit of graffiti.
Right.
That I used to drive cabs as well as do comedy because I wanted to eat and stuff, and there was like there was a service station where the cabs would fill up, and in the toilets there was a guy. He wrote it in really big black letters. He's I hate wogs, and then underneath it in a really tiny writing, this guy wrote, All Aussie Bufta, spelled Bofta.
Okay.
Bufta. So I thought, that's what a great name for a show.
Yeah.
it just came out.
It was a sketch. Was it a mixture of sketches and stand-ups back then?
Yeah. It wasn't really. We opened with we were like this is before the whole suicide bombing thing, but we were suicide bombers.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. It was tasteful back then. It wouldn't work now.
Yeah.
People would find it tasteless.
Yeah.
They laugh and nobody gets hurt.
Yeah.
And so we dread that, but that was the only ethnic sketch in it. We opened with that because it was kind of surreal and funny, and it wasn't really. It wasn't like wogs out of work kind of jokes. It was just this surreal kind of mental stuff, and then there was just a lot of interesting sketches. It was probably the most creative time of my life.
Yeah,
me and Gary Eck and a guy called Anthony Murr. Yeah. And Dan McCartan.
He was, because I remember him. Yeah, I did some sketches with him a few years ago for a festival thing. Yeah.
He's a great comic, and it was at a time where you weren't paid much. We're being ripped off because we'd get
that hasn't changed.
Well, no, it hasn't changed. The funny, but we used to sell out and then get like $40 each.
Yeah.
And we go, how did that happen? Yeah. And the owner would say, we've got expenses and stuff, but we didn't care at the time. We were like in our early 20s, and you just didn't care. You just. And that was the most creative time of my life. That's when you're just coming up with lots of ideas and taking risks.
Do you get scared you're going to forget or run out of ideas? You sometimes think of a musician in the same way that, have I written my best song? Or is there
the guy who wrote American Pie?
Yeah.
What has he done? That was it. He travels the world doing American Pie.
That'd be nice to do as a comedian, wouldn't it? Just tell the one joke.
That's it. I thought of one joke in my life, and I'm still living off it. Yeah. Now, that's the thing with comedy, man. You just it's relentless. You got to keep producing and keep coming up. And it's my biggest fear is that, I'm just not going to be funny anymore. Every day, I think.
But you've sort of crossed the line from now comedy clubs and pubs and that sort of thing to doing bigger venues. Getting a few theatre.
But there's still the same pressure because you can't maintain that unless you keep coming up with new shows. Like if you come back to the same place with a show that you've done last time, people will just stop coming. Yeah. And so you feel the pressure. I did the Enmore last year. They put me on straight after that jungle thing that I did, and I came up with a show fairly quickly. And since then I've been refining that show, and they've put me on this year again. So I was freaking out. I only had the show that I did last time.
Can you not just call it the next one Greatest Hits, the best of?
Yeah, well that's but people won't buy tickets. So best of now. Who does he think he is? David Bowie. Yeah. But I felt enormous pressure to kind of come up with new bits, and but sometimes you give it too much importance, like people don't remember.
They don't remember until they hear it maybe 3 or 4 times. Then they'll be like, now I've heard that.
You can get away with it twice, I reckon. You're right.
Yeah.
And if you deliver it with enough confidence,
most of the time people think they've heard someone else do it. Then they see you do it twice. The second time they go, mate, someone else did it. And you go, no, that was me, mate.
People are stupid. That's what it comes down to. I had a guy come up to me and goes, oh mate, I love that interview you did with Ray Martin. So what interview with Ray Martin? He confused me with Ando.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I can see the resemblance. It's we're almost twins.
Yeah. Well, you get confused with a few people, don't you?
Carl Barron, but Carl Barron you can understand because we're both small and brown. And bald. Yeah. So that's an understandable one. Yeah. But Ando, I used to work with Gary Eck, for example. Gary Eck's a white, muscly guy. Yeah. And people would come up to me after the show and go, oh mate, that Star Wars routine was funny.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
That wasn't me.
Yeah,
I didn't do the Star Wars routine. No, you did.
Yeah.
And
they'll fight you for it too. They'll
they've got
to. No, you did it. No, I didn't. Why are you lying to me? Yeah, they're ready to punch on. Yeah, all right, I did it.
Yeah, these days I just go, thanks.
Yeah.
That's it. It was good Star Wars routine.
Yeah. Well, talk about those reality shows because you did go into the Channel 10 show.
Yeah, the celebrity. Get me out of here.
Yeah.
And I did it without watching it fully. Like I had an idea of what it was like, but I'd never watched the show.
Yeah.
And And as I was telling you off air, I had some tax problems because my accountant's an idiot. And he forgot to put in my tax for 3 years in a row. Yeah. And I was like on the verge of bankruptcy.
Well, I was on the verge of bankruptcy a few years ago too. So
yeah, it's a common thing with comics, you know.
But there's no comedy in it. There's no, there's no sympathy for anybody to go, wow, you chose this, didn't you? Because they expect most people expect you to fail.
Yeah, well, this guy, this accountant, forgot to put in our tax. He just forgot.
Yeah.
And sorry, I forgot.
Yeah.
What can I do?
But is that not your responsibility though, sometimes to sit there and go, well, hang on.
I know. It should have been, but you know, I'm equally.
Because that's the one thing I stress about.
Well, there are very few comics that I know throughout the years that are money conscious.
Now, if you are a Facebook follower of the page, you do get chances to win things like the Akmal book and double DVD set. And on the line, we do have a Facebook follower in Laura Hamilton. Laura, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Darren. How are you?
I'm fantastic, and I feel like I'm going to give away some stuff on the show. With this, you have to just tell me which one is the true fact, okay? Number one.
Okay.
Until the year 2000, Disney employees were not allowed to have any facial hair. Or, Sweden is the world's biggest consumer of paper. Have you been to either of those places, Sweden or Disneyland?
I've been to Disneyland a few times, but in 2000, so it's a bit late by then to know. I probably wasn't old enough to go earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So, something about Sweden makes me think they'd probably eat more chocolate than use paper.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to go with the Disney one.
Disney, until 2000, Disney employees were not allowed to have any facial hair is the correct answer. So there you go.
Woohoo, thank you.
You have won the Akmal pack, and we'll get that out in the post as soon as we can. The Corporal's new chicken blend creamy flavoured ice cream dessert is now available at all good supermarkets in the freezer section. If your local market doesn't stock the Corporal's creamy blend chicken flavoured ice cream, ask yourself why not. The drumstick treat you can lick your own lips to. And now an important report from the Un-Australian's Emma Malik.
Thanks, Darren. In weather news, a Ginger Pride March planned this weekend has been cancelled on safety grounds to a forecast of very fine weather. Please remember to slip, slop, slap, and when we say slap, we mean slap on a hat. Don't slap a ginger.
You been to Africa before?
Well, I was born in Africa, in Egypt.
Yeah.
You know, Egypt's in North Africa, but not actually Africa. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know, so I know I'd never been to that part of Africa.
Yeah.
And but it's not. You don't even feel, because it's such a bubble.
Yeah.
You know, like you're in this tiny little space. You know, like you would be surprised how small it is.
Yeah.
And it's hot.
Yeah.
And you're hungry, and you're surrounded by these TV lights all the time.
Okay,
they never turn them off. So so that it's like 50 degrees at least.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there, and you got cameras all around you in every corner. And
so you know they're there.
It's
It's not that hidden Big Brother thing where you feel like.
No, they're in like little compartments, and and you know where the cameras are exactly. There's no way you can hide.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's and then you're with these people that you've never met before.
Right. Who were you in there with?
I was on with Shane Warne.
Well, that would have been. Did he have? I don't know. Did he have?
Well, I tell you the
weirdest good stories off camera.
He had great stories.
Yeah.
Well, there was no off camera.
Oh, really?
So someone's got these stories.
Oh, okay.
And man, you should hear these stories. They're amazing. Yeah, I mean that's like he was telling one particular story, and I had to actually stop him and say, you're being filmed.
Yeah.
And he goes, I don't give a fuck. Fair enough. It's your choice. But I can't believe he was telling it. And there's one moment, because I grew up watching him, and he was a big hero of mine. And there's certain things that happen to you in life that you never expect to happen in a million years. Like I'm sitting there in South Africa, and I'm being filmed, and I'm hot, and I'm hungry, and I'm with all these people I don't know, except Shane Warne, and he's sitting there at the edge of my little stretcher that we used to have, and I'm lying down, and he's kind of peering over me, and he's talking to me, and because we got on quite well.
Telling you a bedtime story. Yeah.
No, he was going, Akmal, mate, I've got the worst case of constipation. Seriously, I haven't done a shit in 3 days. And just at that moment, I thought, when was this ever likely to happen? This is a moment in my history, in my life, where I'll be telling this to to my nursing home. If I went to a psychic, say, a year before, and she told me in a year's time you're going to be in South Africa with Shane Warne, the Spin King, and he's going to be discussing his bodily functions about his constipation, I would have said, give me my money back, you're an idiot.
In your head, do you think about the money on that show? Because it's the only thing that would possibly motivate you to eat things and
that's
being
it.
in a tank of
That's why
spiders
people
and,
do
and
it.
all
There's
that
no,
sort of stuff.
there's no other reason. And except for Shane Warne, actually because he was really, the moments, you get moments where you just go, why the hell am I doing this? Yeah. And he went through that as well. Everyone goes through it. And I said, you didn't really. I said to him something, think of the money. Yeah. And he goes, mate, I don't care about the money. I had a guy offer me the same money to do this online thing for the same money. It was like 2 days' work. Yeah. But I'm doing this for my kids. Yeah. So he was probably an exception. Yeah. Yeah. But everyone else was doing it, just to pay the bills. People, it should be called ex-celebrities who weren't careful with their money. That's what the show. And
Shane Warne.
And Shane Warne.
Yeah. At what point then, if you look into your past, did you ever think you could write a book?
Well, I never, I failed high school English, like badly. I don't think I even showed up for the exam. Yeah. By the time I got to high school, I had like ADD, but badly, and it wasn't called that back then. It was just called idiot, But these people approached me and said, we'd like you to write your life story. Right. And I thought, maybe they've confused me for Nelson Mandela or someone like that. Yeah. I thought, really? And they paid me, and again, it's money. Money's evil. They paid me an advance, and I kept the advance, and I spent it really quickly because I thought, this is crazy.
Well, I saw that. I think that's in the first page of the book. The book, The Life of Akmal.
And I took the money, and I thought, this is great. It's free money.
And now you got to write the book.
Well, so like 8 months later, they rang me up, said, how's the book going? I said, what book? Who's this? This Random House. It was a great opportunity wasted, really, because I should have taken a few years to write it and had some, should have got a lot of help. And,
how long did it take you to do that? All up?
Well, 6 months or something, 7, 8 months, something like that. If I did it again, I would take my time, and make it, like really work it and get some help and get, and take a lot of time and make it funnier. And it's kind of like the first half is about my childhood, and then the second half's about comedy. So it's almost like.
But you can do an updated version. Surely you can do the.
Yeah. I could do an update. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not allowed near Random House anymore. Security guard's got a photo of me saying if he comes anywhere near the building.
I know Letterman used to say he never reads books or watches movies. Yeah. When the guests come on, he just apparently I read this somewhere. He may have said it if I can remember rightly, but he said he never reads the books or sees the movie when the guest comes on. Otherwise, he's got nothing to talk about. Yeah. So otherwise, it's him just going, "Oh, look, I read your book and these things are in it."
So you've done the same thing.
Rather than I'll take that leaf and go. Well, tell me what's in the book, and they're not saying I'm not going to read it, but there it is.
I'll tell you a story about that. Yeah. When I was on radio, I was on radio for a couple of years on Nova, and we interviewed Judith Lucy. Yep. And I never used to read anything. I'm just lazy, Darren. I'm an extremely lazy person. I don't know how I do know this. You do know this for a fact because you've known me for a while. But so we'd get books, and I was paid quite well on Nova. So I should have at least done something. Like I should have like booked. We had her interviewed about her book, and her book was about the death of her parents. Oh, right. And I didn't know this. Okay. Right? And my co-host was asking all the questions, and I thought I better contribute. So guess what I asked her? I said, so what did your parents think of the book? Oh, right. She said, they're dead. That's what the book is about. It's about the death of my parents.
Oh, Jesus.
And I said, I'm sorry, Judith, I didn't read the book. Because you didn't read the book, you didn't even read the back of it. If you'd read the back of it, if you just bothered to read that.
Surely she could have had a laugh at that.
Yeah, well, she had a laugh, but definitely. I looked bad that day. God, well, what did your parents think? They're dead. Yeah. So, so it's.
What do your parents think of this?
They're dead. They are dead.
Oh, Jesus. There's a thing here. Look, I just quickly opened the front page, and that's as far as because the first bit here. It says here, If you're not fully satisfied with the contents of the book, don't hesitate to call my personal mobile number. And there's a number listed in here.
Yeah.
That's not your number, is it?
No, that was I was like my attempt at humour. When the book
do we know
first
whose number it is?
Yeah, we set up this number. So
can I call it now?
Try it.
Let's see if it.
Optus advises that the mobile phone you are calling is currently not accepting incoming calls.
Oh, it's not accepting incoming calls. It's an Optus number there.
Yeah. No, but what we did was got my friend to thank you for calling.
Yeah.
To pick up your refund, go to Redfern Station.
That's funny.
You'll meet a guy called Abdul who will give you the money.
Oh, cool.
It was something like that. It was kind of a gimmick.
Yeah. Well, you could have done one of those 1-300 numbers, and where you get 50 cents a phone call.
Yeah.
You could have scored an extra 50 cents for.
The next book.
Everyone in there. You've had a couple of DVD recordings from major shows. Where were these ones done?
This was one of them was done in Brisbane, the Brisbane Powerhouse.
Yep.
And this one was at the Opera House.
How's that to work? The Opera House.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better than the Blacktown Workers. Not that there's, the Blacktown Workers has its advantages.
Yeah.
But you get free beer and a counter meal.
It's a weird place, the Opera House, I think. But before you go into a show, it's just that concrete. It's very cold.
It is cold. It is cold, yeah.
I think there's a nice thing to say that you've worked there, but beforehand...
It's not really a stand-up kind of room. Yeah. Stand-up needs to be in a kind of a grotty room.
Yeah. I've still got video of me somewhere where I can see people in the front row all smoking.
Yeah. That's how old we are, folks.
Yeah.
We remember smoking in nightclubs.
I've got a VHS tape somewhere. I need a machine to play it, though.
We're old people. We're old. I remember going home after a gig and just my clothes just stinking of nicotine.
Yeah.
Because people, and all you'd see was like from the stage is just this cloud of smoke.
It looked great with a spotlight. It's always a good image of the spotlight cutting through the smoke, but the fact
visually it's great. With the lung cancer, not as funny.
Yeah. Now, we can check out. You'll have tours coming up in the next few years.
I hope so. I need to. I've got a mortgage.
Yeah,
it's a terrible thing.
You can check all that out at Akmal.com. That's what I need. I need that one name.
Yeah. Well, I never intended it to be one name. It was always Akmal Saleh, but people just shortened it.
Yeah.
I'd be introduced as Akmal, and it wasn't my choice.
Right.
I thought Akmal Saleh was simple enough, but they went, Akmal. And then it works better. It looks good on a poster. It just looks good.
Just Akmal.
Jamo and Akmal, Madonna.
Yeah.
We're going to do a show, all three of us.
All right. Cheers, man.
Thank you, mate.
No worries. Thanks
for having me.
And on the line now, a competition line, that is, of course, being a Facebook follower, is Anthony Ashton. Anthony, how are you?
G'day, Darren. How you doing?
I'm good. Now, you're in with a chance to win the Akmal pack as well. So all you need to do is figure out the fact from the fiction. I'm going to give you two facts. Well, one of them's a fact, one of them's not. Tell me which one is the true fact, and they're yours, okay?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. The first one. Tug of war was an Olympic event for 20 years. Or Hogwarts Station leaves from platform 9 3/4 at Victoria Station.
I'll go with number one, please.
Number one, tug of war was an Olympic event for 20 years. That is in fact true. There you go. That is true. So congratulations.
Yay.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll get those out to you as soon as we can.
Coming up on the next episode of the Darren Sanders Show.
Here's your host.
Gaza. I'm glad to see it out there because at least what we do and what we've perfected is being put more mainstream, and hopefully people will see it and wonder where it came from and think, oh yeah, the drag queens actually invented that, because they did.
The Darren Sanders Show was not recorded in front of a live studio audience. Mike Goldman speaking.